It began with a sound no one could explain. In August 1977, in a modest council house in Enfield, a North London suburb, Peggy Hodgson heard knocking. It came from her daughter's bedroom, rapping, rhythmic, insistent. She assumed it was neighborhood kids messing about, but when she opened the door, the room was empty. Within days, the disturbances escalated beyond knocking. Furniture moved on its own. Toys lifted from the floor and hurled across the room. Chairs slid across the floor as if pulled by invisible hands. And at the center of it all stood 11-year-old Janet Hodgson. She was the focus. The disturbances seemed to orbit her, radiating outward like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. Witnesses described watching the girl float, actually rise from her bed and hover, suspended in the air as if gravity had simply stopped. Others heard her voice change. A deep, guttural growl would emerge from her throat. A voice not her own. A voice that claimed to belong to a man named Bill Wilkins. Bill, the voice said, had lived in that house before he died, before he returned. The case drew the attention of the outside world. Investigators from the Society for Psychical Research arrived, Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair. They documented everything, the knocks, the movements, the voices. And when word spread further, Ed and Lorraine Warren came to witness it themselves. These were not fringe enthusiasts. These were people cataloguing evidence with notebooks, cameras, and a growing sense of unease. Yet, even as believers documented, skeptics raised their voices. The phenomena seemed to follow certain patterns, appearing most often when observers were present, most intensely when cameras rolled. In later years, Janet Hodgson herself admitted that some of the events had been staged, that she and her sister had moved furniture, produced knocks by hitting walls and bed springs. Some events, she said, some. That distinction hangs over the case to this day, unresolved. Because even accounting for fraud, even allowing for the tricks a frightened child might learn, the testimony of multiple independent observers remains on the record. Maurice Grosse was a retired civil servant. Guy Lyon Playfair was a journalist. Neither had reason to believe in the supernatural before that house. 47 years later, the Enfield Poltergeist remains one of the most documented paranormal cases in history. Was it a frightened family, a troubled child, and a neighborhood swept up in hysteria? Or did something genuinely